Hey, what's good, people? This is episode 74. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. It is going to be fun. We have so much to talk about and maybe like a 50-minute to an hour segment to talk about it. So, Rob, here we go. The episode starts right now. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? We're not shaving. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? I'm half black. That's a fact. Okay, here we go. What's up? This is Sports Debate Tuesday along with my man. Say it with me, people. Rob, keep it. McLean. I am Jason DeBillius. I'm your host with the most, as opposed to hostess with the mostest, and got a lot to talk about. We've been talking a lot about football, mixed martial arts a little bit, but it's because it's our wheelhouse. We got some little basketball to talk at the end. The baseball, the playoffs are in. My Yankees are not in. My Buffalo Bills lost last night. Maybe we'll do that on at the end. A quick question: was that a good call on fourth down? Or was it this and that? I mean, hint. I liked it. Okay, spoiler. I liked it. But Rob, first things first, man. We got to go through the dregs on this one, okay? NFL. Now that all the facts are out, I didn't want to talk about this last week, but because it was really, really fresh, but because we took a week off, well, I want us to go on our first take on this, what we first thought when we heard it, and then after the facts folded out, if you still felt the same or you felt differently, all right? Rob, NFL. Jon Gruden found himself in hot water after emails were racially insensitive, anti-gay, and sexist and misogynistic. It resulted in his resignation as a head coach, the head coach of the Raiders. So some of these things are crazy. In the emails, he called the league's commissioner, it's a podcast, so we could say faggot. Forgive me. Set in context, faggot and a clueless anti-football pussy. Those are the things Roger Goodell, he said about Roger Goodell. He also referred to a black general manager as his bottom lip being like a Michelin tire. He pressured Jeff Fisher, the coach of the Rams, to not draft queers, referring to Michael Sam. Called Vice President Joe Biden a nervous, clueless pussy, which I don't think is a sexist or misogynistic thing. But and I'm a guy who voted for Biden. I just think we say whatever we want about our politicians, and we know that Barack Obama and Donald Trump have been called worse. He also criticized player Eric Reed for taking a knee during the national anthem and said he should be fired for doing so. So loaded question, and these are some of the things, if you want to just pick some of the things that I use as an example, or if you just have something you want to say about this, I'm going to give you the floor. But the question is this: when you first heard that and emails came out about racially insensitive comments via private email or business email to some of the GMs and some of the other coaches and some of his contemporaries, the question is, what was your first take? And then after getting the facts, does the punishment fit the crime? Rob McLean, yak, 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 yak. 3 minutes in, the floor is yours.
So yeah, I mean I've heard it before, but I guess laid out that kind of plainly, it kind of puts it in a different perspective. But yeah, with Jon Gruden, man, it's hard because he didn't do anything right now. You know what I mean? So, maybe this is the reason why he was out of the league for a while, because, there was some sort of thing brewing, and maybe this is a way that, the Davis family got him out of, the Raider organization. But in all essence, like, the only thing I would see is like maybe they could have a little bit more of an investigation into if this is the culture that he's bringing to the Raiders now. If this is the reasons why he traded away. I mean, he traded away some type of players that you just don't trade away. Like, you don't trade away Khalil Mack. You don't do that. You know what I mean? Why did that? And the only reason he said that they traded away at that time was because he didn't fit the culture. He didn't want to fit into the culture that they were trying to create there as the Raiders. So, and this is back in Oakland. You know what I mean? This isn't even in LA. I mean, in Las Vegas. So, yeah, very difficult. But in essence, it's not really a punishment. He was fired by his employer. If 4 years into a 10-year contract, yes, because these things came up, but more because they were damaging, as well as they really weren't doing very well. They were doing well this year. I think they created a good roster, but is that Mike Mayock's job or is that John Gruden's job? And they didn't play well for 3 years. They sold off all their players, and now they have a decent season, but they're 4-2, 3-3 right now. It's not like they're 6-0. They're having a decent season. I just don't see why he should have to keep his job. I don't think it was a punishment, to be honest. Like, it's not like the NFL said that you're not allowed to keep this job. You're banned from the NFL. He was just fired from his employer because he damaged the organization's, the look of the organization itself. I think that's more damaging than what he did to the NFL, because this is not something he did out in public. It's not something he did, to other people. This is something he did behind the scenes. And again, this is information that was decided to let go, to explain their decision. They could have just done this decision behind scenes and been like, hey, Gruden's this and that, but, we're not going to talk about it. And, we're going to let him keep his honor. But, they kind of shredded him for who he is. And he has the opportunity to play, to coach for another team. He wasn't banned by the NFL. He's still getting paid his contract.
Well, 4 years. The first 4 years, he just kissed $60 million goodbye because he resigned. He didn't. Yeah. Well, resign.
True.
I mean, he jumped off that ship before it sunk him. So I mean, I know you said he got fired, but
it was coming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's coming. Yeah. So it's like, I'm pretty sure. I thought he got fired and then he resigned from his job. But yeah, either or.
Yeah, I'm got my fat people looking into that right now, but yes, I just because I thought he like you thought he got fired, I thought he resigned, so I just wanted to look it up, and it turned out he resigned. Then of course the owner accepted his resignation. So, but he like you said, he had to jump off that sinking ship. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like, he could have stayed and proven himself, correct and been straight about it. But it is what it is. I don't think he really wanted to coach much longer, to be honest. I think. Things are finally starting to turn out for him, but it didn't really seem like he had a lot of hope and faith in that team. So a 10-year contract for $100 million is a lot of money, and how do you not take that contract? But
you
John Gruden,
you kept 40. Mm-hmm.
Some of those comments were just unnecessary. They weren't even like, you think about in what context could that email have been sent, to where that could have accidentally have been in there, or some people just talk like that. I get that. But where did those comments come in where they explain something, or they value something, or they, give any type of information to those, from those comments? So it just really does. Like Michael Sam, you could just talk about him. He wasn't really a good football player. Maybe you do have a point that, he did get drafted because something about him was sensualized as opposed to his football play. That could be a conversation, but to say don't draft him because he's gay, is the wrong way to say it. Maybe it's the wrong way to say it, but that's the way he decided to describe it, as opposed to he's not a good football player, and that's just kind of the point. Is what are you focusing on if you're not focusing on football? What kind of culture are you trying to create if not for a good football coach? So John Gruden.
Yeah. So, did the punishment fit the crime?
Of course, but he resigned, so it's not necessarily even a punishment. He just took himself out of the running.
All right, Rob, keep it McLean. My first take, because my first take when it came out, they said it was one email from like 12 years ago, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm like, here we go again with this cancel culture bullshit. You want to take something someone said 12 years ago and be like, oh, that's who you are now. That's who you are. You can't change. It's impossible for you to change, and this and that. And I'm just like, oh, come on. Here we go again. And then as the news continued to unfold, there was a pattern from 2011 to 2018. There's a series of emails and this and that. And I'm just like, oh, okay, he got a problem. He has he has an old school problem. On the surface, I'm like, he's got a problem because that's something in this climate that they don't tolerate jokes that we consider tasteless. Like, nobody on this podcast, nobody in the NFL thinks that man is racist. Racist in the classic sense of the word is the inherent belief that someone is superior or inferior based on their race. I don't think that Jon Gruden thinks that way of black people or himself as a white man. He just doesn't, you know? And if he does, it's reverse racism where he thinks they're inherently better because they're black. Because he's been in the best shape of his life and done 40 sprints with some of his athletes, and he's just getting killed. He's just getting marred by them. But my first take was these people are out of their minds, you know, and I'm like, and I always get mad at these cancel culture people because I'm like, if you're not going to forgive someone, if it's the death penalty for everything, little things going to happen. My question is, to quote the movie Cops, what you going to do when they come for you? What are you going to do when your turn comes up? You know, you know me, Rob. I don't think that people should be held accountable for things that happened 10 years or more, because you might be just a different person. But what this did was send a message that that old school style of coaching or like hazing players to get to perform or just saying jokes in the good old boys club that they might think is funny, but people outside that good old boys club might not think is funny. In the privacy of your own home. Now, that sent a message saying that you don't even get to think about those things. It is Mark Cuban once said that it's a slippery slope when you start when people start recording conversations we have in our kitchen or this or whatever, and it's out in public, because it's a slippery slope, because what you say in the privacy of your own home just might be satire. It might not be racism. Like between me and Kelly, what we say in our kitchen, I don't want anybody to hear what we say in our kitchen, because we have a sense of humor that where the conversation is acute to just me and her. And that's what I'm saying. The series of emails Gruden was having were conversations that were cute to him and that person. Are they racially insensitive? Yes. Are they moronic? Yes. Are they even funny in this climate? I don't think I've ever laughed at that. But if I did, I don't laugh at those things anymore. I mean, queer is not even like a fun term anymore. Like for people that were doing tasteless jokes back in the 80s and 90s. Even Andrew Dice Clay never said the word queer. Right? So with that being said, yes, the punishment does fit the crime. I think he's going to be sent to his room. I think resigning was the right thing to do. And I think somehow, some way, even though his win-loss record doesn't suggest he deserves a job, before the Raiders, he was 57-55 lifetime. You like that? Not something to brag about, right? And I just pulled up some of the stats on his win-loss record, because you were talking about like he wasn't that good when he became the Raiders coach. He said this is his fourth year. So check this out. His first year is 4-12, second year is 7-9, third year is 8-8. This year was 4-2, was 3-2, but the fourth victory came without him. And like you said, some of the terms I don't think are misogynistic if you're from his old school. Like calling someone a P word. Sorry, it's a podcast, pussy, right? Is sensitive to some people. That's saying, oh, you're associating that with women, and women are weak, and then so you're calling him weak because he's a woman, and that's misogynistic. So they have this path where it's whatever. But in a sport like football, in a sport where there's just men and testosterone filled around, these are not wake up, people. These are not uncommon terms. Do you think you're supposed to go behind the locker room walls and put a speaker there and change their culture? Sure, go ahead, give it your best shot. I'm cool either way. But what we don't want to do is take these things and be like, oh, he's sexist. Oh, he has a problem with black people. Oh, he has a problem with gay people. I don't even think he has a problem with gay people. I think he was trying to say, don't draft that guy because he's gay, and Michael Sam I find different, because Michael Sam was, people got to remember, was co-MVP, defensive MVP in the SEC at Missouri. Okay, and what the SEC is supposed to be, right? The end all be all as far as like recruiting the best talent to the NFL, right? It's basically an NFL combine. They could leave the NCAA, have their own conference, and people will still watch it, and they won't even hiccup. So it's weird because he came out before the draft, and then all of a sudden he was getting passed up. So do they have a homosexual problem in the NFL? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, they do, because that's one of the things that people need to be more sensitive about. Someone using the F word affectionately or this or that can't be done. That's like a no-no, because there's just the climate and just people understanding how that could be offensive or shape a culture that would ridicule someone because because they're gay. You know what I'm saying? It shapes a culture where you look at someone like they're less of a man, and that's not racist because homosexuality is not a race. But and that's go ahead, Rob. Because I
Yeah,
could.
no, I'm just saying, like, but
Hmm.
I think the difference between, having a conversation in your own home and sending emails
Hmm.
to those officials,
Stupid.
you know what I'm saying, to certain officials about certain people is a whole different thing. And even if it's banter, that's, you're talking in a professional setting, even if it's not Gruden's fault, let's say, it's the fault of the professional in that position of entertaining that conversation. You know what I mean? Um, he's going out of his way to share his thoughts to an official on a team. And when it seems like a lot of it has to do with the Washington football team, I don't know where a lot of that's going, but hey, Jay Gruden, Jon Gruden, Washington football team, why is there a lot of conversation going on there? So it's and I,
In an already
sad,
sensitive climate, they're called the Washington football team for a reason, right? Think
right?
about that. So, Rob, before we move on to the next subject, is the operative word here uh, um, banter or is the operative word email? I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, how could you be so galactically stupid to put
Well, we're assuming
anything?
banter.
Yeah,
We're assuming banter. It
right,
could have been a very detailed and pointed message. It could have been a very loose message. I
right,
think the point of it is that it's not a casual conversation. It was just it
yeah,
was it was like a letter. That's what I
hmm,
see emails are, especially nowadays. Where you can text somebody if you really need to talk to them. If you're sending an email, you're trying to privatize it, and at any bit you're trying to create a message. Something longer probably than shorter. um, it's just it doesn't seem the right way to have a quick banter type conversation about something very
right,
light. You
yeah.
know,
And yeah, and I think until they release it out of their entire in its entirety, I think we'll get more context and probably have a better opinion of it, right? But for now, I think we both agree he got caught with his hand, and with his hand where it doesn't belong, and he got sent to his room, taking his toys away. But I think I agree with you. He's not permanently grounded. I think, like I said, the best thing you can do, and we're going to approach another topic about this. Sometimes if you're busted, you only have two choices. You can come clean, right? Stand in front on Front Street and take it on the chin from whoever wants to take a punch, or you just hide until it dies down. So those are his two choices, and I guess it remains to be seen as time goes on if he's going to give a second chance or a third chance on this one. All right, Rob. So that's the NFL topic one. Topic two, we go to our NFL pick six. We missed an entire week, and I actually seem to be missing week four somewhere. So since I'm taking my own show on this, till Miranda joins us again and we start doing this in studio, I got to find that week and we'll do the totals. But I will say Kristen Nuss was our competition. Kristen Nuss is an AVP professional beach volleyball player, probably going to enter the FIVB scene with her partner, Taryn Cloth. She went to LSU, and then the college beach volleyball pairing system was a perfect 35-0. She won a lot of the regional tournaments. She won Wapaka. She won Coconut Beach. She won Atlantic City, which was a 100K purse. And then on the tour stop, won the very first one in Atlantic City from the qualifier, no less. So congratulations on your 3-3 record, all right? But I'll let you know next week how it works out with the total ratings as far as our guest and battling the host. And we'll have a surprise guest coming up this week. But for now, Rob, this is the NFL Pick Six. Rob, our first game, the pick six, Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs are meeting the Tennessee Titans. Titans are hosting. Who you got?
I think you said that right. I think it's going to be the Chiefs over the Titans.
Not crazy. Like Bills beat Chiefs, Titans beat Bills, and I think Chiefs beat Titans. Titans were very lucky to get in and out, despite the fact that
Derrick Henry.
Henry's a problem. Henry was a problem. But I
Let's
mean,
see if he does that 2 weeks in a row, though. For real, I would love to be wrong this week, but let's see if we do it 2 weeks in a
and
row.
I'm also biased for my team. I think like the Titans. I mean, remember Julio Jones catches that ball off a bounced helmet. That has to be play of the year, dude. And then keeps both feet in. And he played it like a regular reception. So, but with this guy running 142 yards and two scores, with Julio Jones doing all this, How good are the Bills that they still almost won that game?
Oh
How
my
good are the
gosh, this
Buffalo
guy always
Bills
brings
that
that.
through all of that nonsense? I mean, I'm biased. Okay,
You should have won that game far and long ago. How
Yeah,
about that?
yeah. There's
You
that
guys
too.
gave that game up.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's one. I mean,
So
very much like Pittsburgh. That I mean, looking back, is going to be the one that got away. Um, Game two on our pick six, we have the Cincinnati Bengals visiting the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to go first on this one. Lamar Jackson's the real deal. He's doing him. He's putting up MVP type numbers. You didn't put him up last week, but he also showed that he can have a bad game, an okay game, and be smart enough to know when his defense is playing good football and understand the climate. I think he'll understand the climate on this one. And even though Joe Burrow is our new guy, I got to go with the Ravens on this one.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Ravens because I think Lamar Jackson is about to blow up this league. I think that Jim Harbaugh is finally settling into knowing that Lamar is real deal. So, yeah, if he's gonna sit back there and beat them with passing like that, and then he's gonna beat them on the legs, like that team's unstoppable.
Did you
So,
see how pretty
Ravens,
he was in the pocket, man? Right?
crazy.
And he didn't even turn his legs, man. And then when he starts moving, it's like, uh-oh, there it goes.
Yeah, I forgot.
Man, they must have forgot. Game three, Falcons visiting the
Ooh.
Miami Dolphins. Miami suffered a loss in England, and now they get to play host to the Falcons.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins just because I think that they're actually gonna, put it together. Um, yeah, they still got a long way to go, but they got so much freaking talent on that roster that they're gonna get wins against bad teams. So Falcons, I
Yeah.
have the Dolphins.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. So anyone betting on this, as far as the line, the total line is concerned, whatever it is, even if it's 51 points, take the points. Both of these teams are going to score back and forth, and it's going to be whoever has the ball last. Tua, I think, is made of sterner stuff, and I think the Dolphins pull this out too. Um, Game four, Eagles, fly, Eagles, fly. They seem to be on every pick six. What's up, man? Maybe it's because every game's a show. They visit the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll go first on this one. I thought the Raiders showed like John who. We don't care. They performed really, really well over the last weekend as far as like a complete game is concerned on all three sides of the ball. And I think on all three sides of the ball, they're just a better team. I'm not going to make up a why. Sometimes the better team wins, and they're the better team this weekend. I picked the Raiders.
For as good as John Gruden is at preparing his teams or creating his teams, I think he does the worst job of letting his quarterback like have the reins and start doing great things. So I think this is actually a perfect opportunity for the Raiders to let go of John Gruden and move on and allow Derek Carr to really work through the system and do what he's supposed to do. So I think the Raiders are going to start dominating the season. So I'm with the Raiders. I think it's going to be an easy win, and let's get rolling.
Hey, to quote the movie Die Hard, Die Hard 2, you showed some balls out there, McClane. Now I'll show you some good sense. Such as with John Gruden showing this team the gumption or whatever, and now you got these guys that are showing them how to win. So I like you, and I like our take on that. Game five, we have the Bears visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mm. Buccaneers.
Gotta go Buccaneers next. I mean, I could talk about how bad I felt about Fields not winning that game against Green Bay, but the hits just keep on coming. Game six, we have the Colts. Carson Wentz and the Colts visiting the Niners. Niners got a bit of a situation. I go first on this one. This is good. I don't know what the liners or what the spread is, but my guess is the Niners are still favored at home, so I would call this a mild upset. This is Jason's upset special of the week. I'm going Colts.
No, this is my upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what I saw last week. I love that deep ball from Paris Campbell. I think they're really starting to try to do something with Carson Wentz in Indianapolis, and they got a good defense. So
No.
it's only going to go off from there. So I'm going to pick the Colts on this one.
Yeah, I've never been that big of a Carson Wentz believer, not because I think he's a scrub, but because I think people are making more of him than he really is. But at the same time, you can't have a better coach than Frank Reich as far as just navigating him through all these landmines a guy seems to step on and blow up in. And I think at the end of the season, they're going to be better than everybody thinks. I just hope that they don't lose too many games before it's too late for them to do something about it, right? So
Yeah.
there's that. Jets didn't play this week. That's good. Buffalo's off this week as well as the Dallas Cowboys. Too bad for my Buffalo Bills, but again, we'll talk about that on Quick Question. For now, we go into our third topic, our third category, keeping you MMA fans up to speed, or keeping us up to speed with you fanatics out there, you diehards. All right, Rob and I are a mixture of purist versus enthusiast versus MMA fans, and here we go. We had three big events this week. And there seems to be an event every week these days, and some cards have good star power, and some are top heavy. And on those cards, we get surprised when those small cards deliver, because some of them have, and some of these big cards have come up short. And the last 2 weeks, however, have done little to nothing to distract us from the elephant in the room. That elephant is Jon Jones. Jon Jones, 34 years of age, was arrested on September 24th on charges of misdemeanor domestic violence and felony injuring and or tampering with a vehicle after an alleged physical altercation with his fiancée, Jessie Moses, at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. The incident, which left Moses bloodied in front of her children, was just the latest of a string of Jon Jones' run-ins with the law. Mike Winkeljohn, who's his coach from Jackson Winkeljohn MMA, has all but said he's not welcome back, indefinitely or not, though some of his coaches will be training him off-site. I guess because John's still trying to fight in the heavyweight division. Dana White in the UFC has been hush about this, and Jon has lashed out at a reporter who asked him about this, calling her a witch and telling her to fuck off. And now we find ourselves saying, here we go again. Rob, my question to you is, 1, why hasn't cancel culture come after Jones as hard as others? And 2, is it time for the UFC to move on?
I believe that cancel culture hasn't come after Jon just because he's really controlled his image in the media, especially when all these things happen. Even though he said he wasn't going to do a PR stunt this time, he's still doing PR stunts just quietly. And Dana really controls the top fighters, the bad media that comes out. He really controls that all the time, and I think he does a lot behind the scenes to make sure that bad press doesn't hit. He can feed them with something new, something, some different card or some more information that they don't have to use that Jon Jones story or something. But yeah, I think there's a lot of control when it comes to the media, when it comes to Jon Jones, and he's one of the biggest names. He was one of the youngest names forever. He's going to be a Hall of Famer no matter what. So I think they're just trying to control that, his crashing image as much as possible. But should they be done with him? I think either way, it'll be good for both. If they stay, maybe Jon makes it better. He's gonna fight for one of the top contenders in the heavyweight division, and he's either gonna lose and it's gonna be big, or he's gonna win. It's gonna be big. If he leaves this organization, I think he will be better for it. Because he's not just sitting on top as the king, saying this is the amount of money I want to make. He's already got a contract, so he's making money. I mean, he's kind of living large. If he leaves this organization, he has to start to grind and get back to his, art again, or he leaves the fight game. I think either way, something's just got to happen. It's either just Jon's a part of this organization, he's there, or, they should just leave with him. What do I think should happen? I think they should just cut ties with Jon. I mean, they got a really nice prospect list in the heavyweight division already that he doesn't even want to fight any of them. So it doesn't make sense why they would keep him on. So I think they should just get rid of him. But
Rob,
with the most respect, with their most respect.
Of course. I mean, no, we're talking business. We're not talking personal. I think you've done a really good job without assuming the worst on personal when either one of us would have every right to, right? I mean, when I heard this news, to quote the great Chris Rock, this is like O.J. Simpson getting caught with another dead white girl. and then looking at y'all like, I know what you're thinking. And again, in the introduction of this topic, I'm like, here we go again. Here we go again. It was pretty. I mean, the police report really painted an ugly picture. And Jon Jones, of course, is saying, don't believe what you hear. It's not what you think. And this is what we've heard from this guy. Don't believe it's not what you think over and over and over again. It's not what you think when it comes to performance enhancing drugs. It's not what you think when it comes to cocaine being a hell of a drug. It's not what you think when he hits a pregnant lady, leaves the scene of the accident, and comes back to allegedly get cash. The list goes on and on and on. And every sport has someone like that where he's so good that they don't cut him. He's become acceptable. Antonio Brown was like that for a long time. The difference is Antonio Brown realizes his second chance with the greatest quarterback in the world, and the only thing you hear from Antonio Brown these days is nothing but football. He don't even care about the numbers. He's like, I think I could get another ring. So Jones, as far as why the cancel culture hasn't come after him, Rob, people like who they want to like. Conor McGregor has done just as bad as him, and he's got immunity. You know, Joe Rogan goes on his podcast and he says a lot of things that are controversial. And although these days, I think, as far as things being taken out of context, I mean, he's been kind of the victim of some of those things, but he doesn't care because his ratings. He can have Alex Jones on his show, who's like the biggest conspiracy theorist, and it's okay. And because the people that follow him know that the man's not a threat. Like Jon Jones is different because it seems like, you know, I don't know. They like watching him fight. And the biggest excuse you will hear fans that follow presidents, that follow athletes, that follow comedians, that follow all these people. Well, I don't care about his personal life. I just care about like what he does at his job. So, and that's why cancel culture hasn't come after him. And not because he disappears for a little bit until it dies down. This dude's on Twitter, you know, calling people a witch and then deletes the tweet, which is crazy these days, right? Don't you love when athletes like send out a tweet and then delete it 24 hours later, like deleting it is going to be like it never happened.
Right.
Just stop. But lastly, as to the second question, and wow, we're getting through this as faster than I thought we would. Dana has a decision to make. If Dana cuts him, he goes to Bellator. Bellator, who has some money right now, because I think they're Viacom. Viacom's a freaking machine. Jones goes there to Bellator as the GOAT. And Dana, I think this is a part of Dana that wants him to stay around long enough to lose one match and then go. This way, he doesn't take his star power and make another company look bigger. Dana is grasping his monopoly with a tight fist. With the heavyweight division was the last to go, you know. Because you remember with Strikeforce, right? They had Alistair Overeem, they had Fedor, they had Fabricio Verdum, they had Daniel Cormier. They had 7 of the top 10 fighters. You know, the UFC had Kane and Jr. at the time, but I'm telling you, Josh Barnett at that time, so Dana was securing the best fighters from every division with the heavyweights being last. Even though one championship's got some really good fighters at 125 and 135. My God. So yeah, they're not gonna. Should they cut him? Yes. Are they? No. They. It's very much like wrestling. Like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. This incident a few years ago, basically Vince told Bret Hart, you have to lose the title because you're going to WCW. You cannot go to WCW with the WWF Championship. So there's a similar situation where like these promoters, especially people like Dana White and Vince McMahon, you have to fall. You have to go out on your worst note. It would benefit them, you know.
Right.
Yeah, like it's worked for McDonald. Gegard Mousasi went out on his own. Anthony Johnson, right? Rumble lost a title shot. So you lose a little bit of your flair. So, and they're not going to cut him because he's going to take viewership away from another company and lift another one up. And Dana says he loves competition, but no, he loves crushing them better.
Loves weak competition. That's what he likes.
Yeah. All right. If you call it right, they call it competition, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that what you call that these days? You calling that competition? All right. So, Rob, that closes the door on MMA, and we got still some stuff to cover, but I'm glad we're rolling right along. But first things first, one of my favorite topics. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, to shame or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
Okay, let's set up our clock. Let's see if I can actually get this right for a change. Oh, there it is. Oh, there goes Rob.
That's it.
Oh, there
Wow,
it is.
that's it.
Oh, there goes Rob. All right, so Rob, to shame or not to shame, Aaron Rodgers scores the winning touchdown. Actually, pretty much runs to walk in against the Chicago Bears, and he goes to the crowd and he says, "quote what was it? All my fucking life, I still own you." Taunts the crowd, does his discount double check. So, Rob, I'm going to start the clock. We have a whole minute apiece. If you want to allocate that time, that's fine. But I think I'm going to give you a whole minute on this. Rob, the question is it for Rodgers, shame or no shame?
So I definitely don't like the type of talk, but when you really think about it, in a game, especially it doesn't happen a lot with NFL because there's so much distance from the fans. But NBA, baseball, it happens sometimes too, but still a lot of distance. There's a lot of banter that goes on between fans and athletes, and sometimes it gets heated. Just as long as it doesn't cross a certain boundary, it's fine. Even if it's a little derogatory, it's not that bad as long as it doesn't get personal. And I think that's all it comes down to. So when he says that and he doesn't follow it up with comments like Chicago is a shit town, and I can dominate Chicago whenever I want to. It's just it's in the moment. It's in the heat of the moment. He said what he wanted to say, and it's just an expression of him running for a touchdown, which he doesn't do very much. So good on him. And I wouldn't call that score an owning, but yeah, give the other team some locker room material to go against them harder next time. I love it.
Cool, man. Hey, Rob. So for me, I'm a little bit mixed, all right? It is a team that he's owned. It's the Chicago Bears, and if you look at his win-loss record against that team, he's enjoyed a lot of success against them. And for me, I say no shame, but I want the NFL, and I want sports as a general, but the NFL in specificity, if that's a word, to be consistent with that. You got Randy Moss. He mimic moons the crowd, and everyone calls him disgusting. They use the term moon when he didn't really do it. He mimicked it, right? Rex Ryan tells a fan to shut the fuck up because the fan was antagonizing when he leaves. He gets fined for that. But Aaron Rodgers comes out and says, I own you to the crowd and this and that, and that's okay because it's one, it's kind of their boy, and two, in Aaron Rodgers' defense, there was a girl when he scored the touchdown. There was a girl that gave him the double bird, 2 middle fingers when he entered the end zone. So it was one of those things where if someone flips you 2 middle fingers, sometimes you just see black, right? And sometimes, and sometimes you say what you got to say. And that's what made it more. I mean, first of all, it's Rodgers, who's kind of a made man. Second of all, they had the fans had their justification. Oh, he saw that and he was in his moment. So there's not going to be a lot of blowback like there was blowback from some celebrations, right? Terrell Owens breaks out of Sharpie signs of football, and people are talking about since when is winning not enough? Oh, and I'm like, really? So my answer is no shame, but let's come with that same energy when it's someone other than their boy. I'm not
True.
I'm not an anti-Rodgers fan. I don't hate the prom queen because the voters made that person prom queen, right? You don't hate the prom queen. You hate the voters. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. So no shame. And I thought I'd gone too long on that, but I wanted to highlight that there's a player exceptionalism when it comes to certain players that get to do things that no other player could even get away with, and they cite as a pretext, it's because he's great. It's bullshit.
No, I have to agree with that because because touchdown celebrations are a thing. Where people, because I don't necessarily like touchdown celebrations. I could do without the Rodgers thing, but if you're talking about should I enforce him to not do that? No, I don't care. He's going to do whatever he needs to do it. But, when it comes down to it, it's fun. It's funny to see. It's cool to have. It's another piece of the entertainment, but
Yeah.
it's not necessary. That's for sure at the end of the day.
I mean, I'm biased too, right? I have my exceptions for touchdown celebrations. I like team celebrations. I like Washington Redskins in '80 doing the fun bunch. I remember the New York Giants, like the offensive line did like a double barrel roll. Two guys just jump in the air and do like a forward barrel roll. The Lambeau Leap, man, that's pretty cool to see in Green Bay. These celebrations are fan friendly. They're not showing up the other team because you're not like in the other team's face. Like what's his name? Remember CeeDee Lamb kind of did the wave goodbye thing to New England, and I didn't like it. But if you saw what happened before that, like he got pushed really hard after he was already in the end zone. So that was one of his situations. He probably wouldn't have waved goodbye if he didn't get cheap shotted at the end. And as much as I found
I don't
myself,
know. He's kind of a talker.
he is. But you know what I say. You come with that same energy, very much like I did. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. We lost, and my hat is in this room somewhere. I can't reach it. I ain't Michael Irvin. You're gonna find me the next morning if my team loses. Go ahead.
All I'm gonna say is when you're not the number one, and you got skills and talent to be the number one, it's real nice to not be the number one. But when you're gonna be the number one, and defenses are trying to shut you down, and you ain't got size, you ain't got quickness, you got route running, that's about it. You better hold on to that tight. So CeeDee Lamb is nice and talkative now, but when he doesn't have Amari Cooper as his number one, which, he's been hurt, so I understand. But, again, he's had plenty of options around him. He doesn't have to score all them yards. That's why he be getting all them yards.
And it's a matter of time someone's going to send him a message. Right?
Yeah,
there's going to be a guy out there. There's going to be a guy out there that's going to be willing to take the fine. He's going to cut him low. He's going to, they're going to knock the shit out of a defenseless receiver. 15 yards. Sure. Okay. You're rejected. All right, cool. See you guys next week. So
I'm not saying that's what should happen. I'm just saying, like,
but this is the
that's
NFL,
why you kind of
dude.
don't talk trash. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, Dak has him up in the air a lot. He be jumping up for throws a lot. So
and don't you think?
Be careful.
And don't you think Khalil Mack is gonna put a little something on Rodgers? They played the Bears twice in a year. You think they're just gonna let him get away with that? Rodgers, if he plays the Bears, right? If he's about 3 touchdowns, get the hell out the game. Get the hell out the game because if you create that vitriol or whatever, I'm telling you, they're gonna come after you. He's gonna be on a cart flipping everybody off again.
Let's see if Jordan Love's capable.
Jordan Love's gonna be like talking about how much he loves the Bears. I got love for everybody. My name is Jordan Love. All right, so that's the hopefully shuts the door without being cracked open of to shame or not to shame. And now our next section is quick question. Quick question. That's how I wanted to do it. From now on, every week, that's how we're going to do it, Rob McLean. Quick question, Rob. UFC. We only really want to talk about one thing. Paulo Costa versus Vettori. Marvin Vettori.
Costa.
You got Costa? Yeah. Yeah, oh, man.
It's gonna be fun to see.
And Vettori could take a shot, but oh man, this could be ugly. Costa hits hard, dude.
Hard.
And Vettori,
it's like another showing of Yoel Romero, like a young right-handed Yoel Romero.
And I don't see Vettori doing that Matrix type stuff, moving out the way and stuff. So, I go. We both go Costa. All right. Rob, quick question. Will Dak make it to the end of the season? He's got a calf injury, and he's had nagging injuries here and there. I'll go first on this one. I say yes.
Yeah, I think he will because he's everything to Dallas, so they're going to do anything to protect him.
He's also turning into my favorite quarterback on my least favorite team. I mean, I really like the guy all the way from Mississippi State, Ole Miss or Mississippi State. I'm trying to remember. Right now, 73% passing completion percentage.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, right? Yeah. Who got as high as 4th or 3rd? I remember both Ole Miss and Mississippi State were ranked in the top 10 that year.
Yeah, they were high.
Great quarterback.
They had
draft out of those.
AJ Brown too was over there and over in Ole Miss and stuff. It was good teams. And DK Metcalf.
Yeah, but again, here he is, 73 completion percentage, 16 touchdowns, 4 picks. The most important thing, I heard Stephen A. Smith mention it before, cultural change. the winning culture. Okay, things go bad. You see him slapping someone on a butt saying, "Hey, get up, let's go." This young guy talking to people 10 years older than him, and they're like, "Okay, that's our leader." And you know he's a leader because if you replace Romo, who was Jerry Jones' boy, you have to be good. You have to be made of sterner stuff and not just put up numbers. He has to be 13-3 just to take over that job. Anything less. So yeah, all right. Enough about Dak. And I guess one more question about the Cowboys. The quick question, Rob: are the Cowboys the best team in the NFC right now?
At the moment, yes, but like of those top 3 or 4 teams, like it could be any one of them. So I'll say yes at the moment, just because they're playing where they are. But at the end of the season, probably not. But they're up there. They're definitely there.
I say no. I say the Arizona Cardinals are, for numerical reasons. They're the lone undefeated team. Their secondary looks really, really good. A.J. Green has become the older version of himself, and Kyler Murray is progressing through this quarterback maturity thing faster than we thought. And even without their head coach and OC, but even without their head coach and OC, they beat the brakes off of this of the Chargers. So that's my best team in football right now. That's a Chargers team that probably should have and could have beaten Dallas.
Yeah, Browns.
Oh no, Browns. That's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Browns are decimated, but a win's a win, so I give them that. No, the Ravens beat the Chargers, right? I gotta remember that. Shame on me. Oh, here's the other question. Quick question, Rob. Are the Ravens the best team in the AFC?
I say yes, absolutely. But
too.
again, there's another couple teams that are right there with the Bills and the Titans. Another couple good teams.
I say yes. We both say for now. Quick question. Justin Herbert. Is he still the real deal, or has he been an overachiever?
Definitely the real deal. No doubt about it.
I'd say both, but definitely more the real deal. He's overachieved. He faked it till he made it, and now he's here.
I think it's more the head coach.
Yeah.
The head coach is getting a little stale for me.
Yep. Quick question, Rob. Why was Jacksonville and Miami still an intriguing game? That's not a quick question. Why was that such an intriguing game?
It's because the level of play was similar.
Right.
They're definitely both rebuilding teams, and they have both had some turnovers. They both couldn't score, so made it a little bit more exciting. But yeah, it's just a lower level game, but they both had the same level, so it
had a little bit of a Clemson versus Alabama feel to it too, like Trevor Lawrence against Tua, right? Looked like a rematch on one of those national championship games, which. This one was, dude. Why was I jacked for the Jaguars? I was amped for the coach, for everybody when that field goal went in.
Well, they had a big comeback.
Yeah,
they had a pretty big comeback, and then the Dolphins are up pretty big.
Right. Where would be an quick question, Rob? Where would be an ideal landing spot for Cam Newton?
I think I was kind of thinking about it. I think the 2 places that I had in my mind were the Texans. I feel like that would be great for him because Tyrod Taylor was killing it there.
Yeah.
So that would work out really well.
Similar mobility,
and then, and then maybe the Seahawks. I don't think what Geno Smith is doing there working out that great. You could put an experienced quarterback, kind of make it work for a couple of weeks while Russell Wilson's out, and come back and maybe have somebody who's a fire for that offense who kind of has that personality. So I think those could be 2 really good spots for him.
Yeah, Geno, that time. I mean, the timing's been so bad for him. You almost think he's getting paid to lose, like he's on a take or something. He gets the ball back. He takes a sack, takes him out of field goal range. He gets the ball back and then fumbles the ball. He gets the ball back, there was a pick. And I'm just like, what's going on, dude? So from my ideal landing spot for him would have been Cam Newton would be the Jets. Yeah. Well, that's where careers go to die.
I got one. Detroit would be another fantastic place for him. They run the ball well. They got a nice O-line.
Yeah,
it would be a really nice place for Dan Campbell to get some relief from Jared Goff.
And Campbell himself called out Goff.
Yeah,
to the media. I mean, he's got to step up his game, and I didn't think that was a terrible call out. You need to step up your game. How about that? That's it.
Yeah.
To be, take it like a man. I'm sexist now. Quick question. Many believe Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the NFC North. Quick question, Rob. Give me one name. Who's the second best quarterback in the NFC North?
Oh, Joe Burrow, no doubt. But again, like if we're trying to look at who's the best pocket quarterback, you know what I'm saying? We could, talk maybe Lamar's not the best pocket quarterback, but when you have 8 in the box, you're playing a preschool reads. It's
Yeah.
simple. So Lamar is easily far and beyond one of the best passers in the league because he doesn't have to face the same defenses that a pocket passer does have to face. And just him or his coach recognizing that makes the game. That's why I think what we saw last week was a start to a big change in what we're about to see. Offenses and the quarterback being able to take over the defensive look, right? You drop one safety in the box, we're going to beat you in the pass. You take a safety out, we're going to beat you with the quarterback read option. It's kind of starting to become that in the league. So I think it's going to be that.
Yeah, I got Burrow too. And in a division where you have Ben Roethlisberger and Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson, that's pretty good that you and I give this young man the respect he deserves. Quick question, Rob. Wednesday nights, the New York Knicks. I'm doing this for you, okay? You New Yorker, you diehard Knicks fan. Knicks face the Celtics opening game on Wednesday. Who wins?
Knicks.
Game's at the Garden, man. Celtics are a good team. But I gotta go. Spit and swallow. I go Knicks. Quick question. Ben Simmons. This ain't even a quick. We say this for the end. Ben Simmons gets kicked out of practice today because during the huddles he's dribbling, doing his own thing. Doc Rivers is trying to communicate with him, and he's kind of in his own place. And conduct detrimental to the team was the reason he's suspended. Actually, so you will not see him game 1. Quick question, Rob. Yes or no? Should Ben Simmons play for the Sixers this year?
Should he? So I think this is difficult because we haven't seen this in a long time in the NBA, where there's been like not only a contract dispute but a sort of a trade request, contract dispute. I mean, this happened with Stephen Marbury back in the day with the Knicks. I mean, this happened a couple of times where it's kind of the business side of the game, and I kind of hate that. And this kind of shows the immaturity, and I think why the Sixers really can't trust in a Joel Embiid or a Tobias Harris to really lead their team, because they are kind of also a little immature as well. You can't be in the media speaking about Ben Simmons and his contract thing and say, show up, be a man, do your job, when you basically have been trashed all postseason. Like, where were you guys defending me before about my jump shot, my free throw, helping me out, trying to make me better? So it's pretty rough. Trust me, I'm not saying that, I'm not coming to Ben Simmons' rescue. I think you do have to show up and go to work. But at the end of the day, those are private conversations. Those are things in-house that you have to handle. And, when people talk about that outside the team, you got to be like, hey, everything's all good. We're going to handle it. It's going to be good. If they are talking about it outside and the team is, flipping on Ben Simmons, I mean, that's bad. But at the end of the day, Ben's who he is. He's going to be one of the best defensive players on the court. He's going to be one of the best transition players on the court. And if you don't want that on your team, that's kind of, your issue as a team. Ben, man, this is probably what he's been told to do, to be honest. Like, this is a business decision, so as terrible as it looks like, this is what basketball players have to do to create leverage to get what they need in their business decisions. So unfortunately, this is what he has to do. It's sad, but this is what it comes to. Players don't have leverage. This is leverage. Do I think he should play for the rest of the season with the Sixers? No, because this is what it's going to be like. I think it's already set in stone. That's just kind of what it is.
Rob, you brought up a very, very good point where everybody else is on the Sixers side. You brought up a very good argument for Ben Simmons' side, and you and I actually had a pretty spirited debate on this a couple of weeks ago on why haven't about you holding certain people responsible for what he's missing in his toolbox all these years and this and that. And where my side of the argument was, quoting to Mother Teresa, one must participate in one's own salvation. So, and I think I'm not going to go that route because I still think we both feel the same way about that. And though it's fun to butt heads, back and forth on that.
Keep that same energy.
Yeah, but though it's, you know what I'm saying, it's fun to butt heads on that. Yeah, we both, and that's the cool thing because we both have our reasoning
Right.
it's so unique because neither one of us are really wrong. Dude, you're not wrong. You're just one of maybe one or two people out there that I've even heard made that argument. You know, and it was fresh and it got me by surprise. But at the same time, it's not wrong. But with that being said, I guess the answer to the question, the answer is no. And the answer is no because of what you're saying is true. Not only did they alienate him with the media, they also painted a bad image of him for teams that want to pick him up. Right? There are teams that took a whole bunch of time to get rid of that kind of drama, and who nobody's going to be looking for someone like that, and he hasn't even joined the team yet. So if they continue to do this, if what you're saying is wrong, that's very, very dirty of them because they're not just trying to get rid of him and get maybe pay out or get him to quit so they could keep that money, but they're basically sending a message to the rest of the league. He's that guy. Who wants that guy to play in your team? You know,
right? He can't hit a free throw. How about he's one of the best defensive players in the league? Yeah. And as the president of the team or as the coach of the team, that's what you should be stressing to these media people who ask it time and time again. Hey, but did you see how much defense did he play? You know how many rebounds he had? You see how well he pushed the ball to the floor?
But again, people's shooting percentage against. Yeah, people's field goal percentage against him. Yeah, agreed. Yep.
Right. Like, okay, then let's talk about, a big man, because he's a big man, right? He's a point forward. He's not a shooting guard. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just kind of, it's sad because this is why they kind of talk about the analytics in sports, is that you lose a lot of what you could learn about a sport or what is important about a sport if you just look about the statistics. Sure, his shooting, or what they say is what it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, is incredible from Ben Simmons, his intangibles, and if you have a Joel Embiid, you have a Tobias Harris who can score the ball, why are we talking about somebody shooting the ball?
Yeah.
At all.
You know, Rob, when I was getting it in, climbing up as a volleyball coach, I coached at school in New York. That gained enough recognition where they named me like the all-star. There's something at the end called the Exceptional Seniors Game. It's an all-star game in New York that has this amazing immigration population, not for basketball, but for boys volleyball. Polish guys, Dominican guys. And so for the tryout process, Brenda Morgan, who's the director of the PSAL, told me there was players that were on exempt from being cut, which I thought was just very, very bizarre. And I just think it was her way of trying to get more African Americans into the sport of volleyball, which I thought in her case was wrong because she's from Brooklyn. She just didn't see a lot of black guys on the team. But if she went to JFK High School, that team's all Dominican and black. And all she sees are the good teams from Queens, Long Island, where those teams were predominantly white. So she had certain black players on a no-cut list. And I know I'm airing their laundry, but it's years ago and kiss my ass. But there was a guy on the team that was 6'4". He was an outside hitter. And he says, Coach, I just want to let you know ahead of time, I don't receive serve. And I don't take the down balls and free balls. And he's an outside hitter. And in our wheelhouse, those are the requirements for that position even before hitting, even before offense. And it was one of those things that someone comes in and I'm not allowed to cut this guy. And the normal coach should be like, man, you what? But this is where I support your argument. This kid's a senior. And this is a practice, tryouts first, and then the practice. And he's supposed to get noticed by college coaches. And I'm mad at Brenda because I'm like, first of all, you cut this and their coach, because you talked about you cast aspersions on the coaches for not training this kid properly. So I'm getting somewhere with this, and I know we're winding down. But the point I was trying to make was I had a decision to make. I could coach him up and I'll be like, hey, I'm going to give you your options. You're on this all-star game. You want college coaches to notice you. They're not just going to pick you up because you're big, or the next two practices, come get with me and let's just work on some stuff and this and that. And when the game came, he still wasn't like the primary passer, but he showed he wasn't just a tall, black, athletic guy. that coaches could just stick in the middle or just say, hey, I'm going to put you in for one rotation. He showed a fast IQ, quick learning, and in like 3 practices from that to the All-Star game, the kid looked not sensational, but he didn't look like the kid that can't receive a serve. And let's fast forward to Ben Simmons. The reason why you're upset is because they've had opportunities in high school, opportunities in college, opportunities in the pro scene. Okay, these assistant coaches, this isn't a part-time gig, all right? They're not fucking waiting tables at night and they're doing this a couple hours during the day and they don't have time to look at video or have time to help this guy. So to me, neither one of us are wrong because we don't know what the truth is. To you, the truth is they had all this time to train him and make him better at the free throw line and shooters, and they failed him. And my truth is, I think they want to help him, but he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna do this. I don't want to, because it's a players-driven league. So there's So the truth is in the middle because to me, I do believe because it's a player-driven league, the player can determine how much time, extra time that he wants a coach, that he hires a coach, and it is just mind-boggling. Go ahead, Coach.
But I gotta say, there just because Ben Simmons 6'9", super long, not the biggest guy, but he's a dynamic talent, and his ceiling is incredibly high. Uh-huh. But that doesn't mean that his mental. And I'm not saying that he's not a great player mentally as well. No. But that doesn't mean that he's going to push himself to that capacity. You know what I mean? So you still gotta, any player at any level, you still have to baby step them along in a sense, whether it is mentally, and that is, okay, you're not good at free throws. You're not good at choosing a layup over passing a ball to a guy who's going to get fouled, when there's an easy layup on the basket, that's clearly sports psychology. That has nothing to do with putting your hand up and putting your, the ball in the hoop, So when it comes to that, one, either, you're not getting good people around you to recognize that, or two, you're not having people that are good basic coaches to give you that, because just because you're not a psychologist doesn't mean you can't give somebody positive reinforcement. This is the right thing. You need to work at like this for a while and it'll get better over time. You don't need a freaking rocket scientist for somebody to tell you that.
No,
so
you just
again,
need a coach.
That's what I'm saying. And a lot of this does come from me down from, I like Duke. That's a school that, my dad likes, my neighbor likes it. So like, I've always liked Duke, and Duke is like, hit your free throws. If you don't hit your free throws, you don't leave the line when, after practice, you got to hit 30 free throws in a row or 10 free throws in a row, whatever the heck it is. So it's more of an indictment on all the coaches, that every basketball player should be hitting their free throws.
LSU, yeah.
And that goes to a lot of NBA players say that. It's like, how did people be missing easy free throws? Even the guys who didn't shoot free throws well back in the day, they're saying make your free throws now. You got Shaq making fun of Rudy Gobert who can't make free throws. It's like, it shows you that, free throws are very important. And that's all he needs to do. Ben Simmons, because they were making jokes on him when he first came in the league. Oh, he doesn't want to shoot a three. He can't shoot a three. Look how many threes he shoots this game and that game and this game and that game. And now it's about free throws. Now it's about he doesn't want to take layups, easy layups, and he wants to. So it's like you got to see the progression of these things and how he's been beaten down over time about his offensive game when that's not something that he's natural. His natural ability is defense, is athleticism, is being able to transition from offense to defense, to be able to use his IQ to see the floor just like a LeBron, maybe not as physical, but just in the same type of he didn't have offense, but he will have offense. Eventually it will grow, it will come. He will body people up and down low on the board and be crafty. That's what he was already doing. But again, because he wasn't shooting threes, he wasn't effective enough because people want to see the very best of Ben Simmons, not his best, but their idea of best, which is 50% three-point shooter, killing every single, 10 assists a game, getting triple doubles everywhere because that's what they think he's capable of doing. But let's just, give him the basic skills and let him see what he can make. They don't let, if you're in the NBA right now, right? 5 years in the NBA, we don't have a single coach that's getting him to shoot free throws. and that's an indictment on the player.
In a player-driven league,
player,
yes.
but an indictment on the player to, one, keep himself in the right place outside of the court, right? Keep all his family in check, everything else in check outside the court, and then you got to come in and then not only learn the offense and the defense and what the other team is doing, but you got to keep yourself in check on the basics. That is on the coach to keep the player in check on the basics. That is literally the job of the coach. Is, hey, you're not efficient on the basic skill. I need you to get in the gym and work during practice. That's what practice is for.
In a player-driven league,
Jason,
that is a hell of a question.
What is practice for? But then what is practice for? I get what you're talking about in the off season, sure. But that's up to him to decide what he needs to work on. If he doesn't think he needs to work on that, that's his player-driven thing. You need the right people around you to drive you to do the right thing sometimes. Yes, you need structure. That's what it is.
Well, you have too many examples to support your argument too, right? Like Phil Jackson.
About what?
But what Phil did for Shaq, right? Right? Hey, you ever take up yoga? You know what I'm saying? Was Shaq not in the best shape of his life? Did he not look like Superman when he played for the Lakers?
Yeah. I mean, he looked like Superman when he was playing for the Orlando Magic. That's
that was baby. He used to have baby fat. Nah, come on now,
bro.
Nah,
he was not.
But look, he was. He was still unstoppable. And he did take them to a finals, right? Him and Penny went to a finals, right? They played Houston.
The best I ever seen Shaq look is on
the Magic.
Orlando Magic, yeah.
He was in La La Land too. I mean, the kids loved him. Adults, grown men followed him. Yeah, man, good job for Shaq. But Phil, good job. Chuck Daly, all of these people that helped Rodman with his game. So I co-sign a little bit with that. All right, look, we got to get out of here. But before we go, wanted to wish congratulations to the Chicago Fire. They won the WNBA title. They were down by 14 points. We'll look at where all signs looked like it was going to a game 5, but they came back and they won. Kaylee Copper was named the Finals MVP, and we can only talk about X amount of stuff on this short, consolidated 50 minutes to an hour. We're over an hour now, but we would be remiss. It would be podcast malpractice if we didn't mention the WNBA and there's some up years and down years, but that was a very exciting finals to watch. I got to watch. Honestly, I only got to watch 2 games of that series, but I did get to watch that last game and watch that comeback and just watch clean basketball, great ball control. These girls way up at the rim. I'm like, I see a girl go up and I'm like, is she gonna dunk? Man, she's up there and she lays it up, and I'm like, just these elite athletes on the opposite gender, our counterparts, who right? Who runs the world? Girls. How you feel? How you feel about that one?
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to them. I thought it was great teams on both sides. It was good competitive games. And
good coaching.
Like I said, it
great
could have
coaching.
gone 5 easy, and came back, and it was a great game.
Yep. Hey, who runs the world? Girls. All right, Rob, before we go, is there anything you'd like to say to our population of followers before we depart?
Just stay happy, stay healthy, yo.
Stay happy, stay healthy. I like that, man. I co-sign with that, man. I love this man. You love this man, and he loves you. But for the rest of y'all, I ain't got no love left. In fact, I can't stand any of you, all right? So we are out of here, all right? So for all of you at home, for all of you on the line at Starbucks, for all of you on your iPad, Droid, desktop, who runs the world, old school. For my man, Rob, keep it, McLean. This is episode 74. A Sports Debate Tuesday. Hey, we're finishing late, but better late than never. Love you to pieces. We're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionDB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.